All right, cool.
It's working now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume my voice always works, so I won't say anything incriminating.
Oh, that's so hard to do when you're recording yourself. Yeah, you probably might have
Yeah.
something to say about that. Incriminating evidence. Like, I don't know, Donald Trump. Blah, 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 no filter.
No, no, Larry. I heard that blah blah blah. That's not a good sign. Oh,
Oh no. James is still here,
Yeah.
I hope. Hi. Hi and
Hey, Larry.
welcome to Seattle's #1 comic book podcast, the podcast that's dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic. I'm Larry.
I'm James.
Oh, you are James, and you're back. Thank you very much. This is episode 65.
My 65th favorite number.
65th favorite. My 65th favorite number, too.
Huh. Very interesting, Larry. You and I have a lot in common.
Yeah. So James wasn't here
So,
last
Larry,
week. That's
I was
right.
gonna say I wasn't here last week, and somehow I heard the podcast from last week, and you said some incriminating things that I'd like to reveal to the people who only listen to the James episode. Sorry, Jason, but
Oh no.
there's a few out there who just like James isn't on it. What a
Yeah, so they were like,
Well,
"Oh,
like
James
you.
isn't here. I'll skip." So
well, I'll clue you in. Larry made the slip up and said that his favorite comic book podcast is the 11 o'clock comic books.
no,
Larry?
I did not. I
I
clarified
heard
that.
you sa-
I thought I clarified that with my second favorite comic book
Yeah,
podcast.
It was too late, Larry. I knew what you meant.
I do like the 11 o'clock comic book podcast. Those guys are very good at what they do, and I think we are very good at what we do.
We'll say that they're the best non-Seattle. They're the #1 non-Seattle comic book podcast.
They definitely are a podcast to check out if you want to supplement your comic book podcast listening. They are very good.
Larry thinks they're the best. All right, Larry.
Thanks for that. So James wasn't here last week, like we just mentioned, and but Jason was here last week, and I just want to thank Jason again. I'm sorry that our audio
Jason.
was a little janky. Our sound, like some of the music didn't come through. I don't know why that happened, but it was a good podcast, and I thought Jason sounded really good.
I did too. I like Jason.
Yeah, he had the best. He had the better mic, I think.
That's how it always works.
Right on. So this week we
Wait.
what?
Recent and decent, Larry?
Yes.
Or were you going to say something else? Okay, good.
We're gonna talk about.
'Cause did you even do a recent and decent last one? Or
Well-
was it all kind of not
It was
not really in the category?
it was kind of a free form. It was a fun episode. I would like to do another free form episode like that because it was some of the pressure was
Structure.
off because there was no structure and we were just sort of vamping on some of
All
our
that-
favorite comics.
All that pressure we have, Larry. We're putting so pressure on ourselves here.
Oh yeah, so I had a little pressure. Well, I had no pressure this week coming up with a recent and decent.
All right, let's lay it on him.
Oops, that's the wrong recent and decent music. Recent and decent. This is published by
Image.
DC Comics, written by Bill Matheny
Watterson.
and Jimmy Palamati.
Great.
Art by Mark Texarira. His name is Texarira, and David
Tough one.
Alvarez. It's a team up. It's a team book. Jonah Hex and Yosemite Sam.
Yes. Whoa, Larry. You blew my head off with that turn.
So
Yosemite Sam?
So you darn tootin' you bet.
The big hat and the long orange beard?
Yes.
Double pistols?
Double pistols. And
Dancing around in
Yosemite,
a circle?
Yosemite.
Shooting guns up in the air, Larry? You talking Yosemite Sam?
Oh.
He's doing a mix-up with Jonah Hex?
That's right. So Yosemite strikes it rich.
Of course. The only... Was he shooting at the ground for some food and up from... Was that called bumbling crude?
He strikes it rich, gets his giant gold nuggets coming, and he needs protection. And he hires one Jonah Hex. And I'll just leave it at that. This is a limited or a short-run series.
I hope we do this one, Larry, because this sounds like a rip-roaring good time.
It starts out so fun. It is a very fun first issue. And
then it gets real serious and dark.
Well, the art is actually a little darker than you would think.
Darker than Looney Tunes?
Well, they do a Looney Tunes cover, they do a Jonah Hex cover, and then the interiors are of a Jonah Hex style. A very DC, dark and sketchy. It looks good. But
so does DC own the rights to Looney Tunes?
I don't think so. I think it's a Warner Brothers DC mashup.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, so get on board. Recent and Decent. That's Jonah Hex / Yosemite Sam.
Oof. Great one, Larry. Good call.
Yeah, I'm on board. All right, now, James.
Yes, Larry.
How are we going to do this setup? Is this going to be the shortest show ever, or can we talk about Axe Cop for a full 30 minutes?
Oh, Larry, I got so much to talk about Axe Cop. I could go Axe Cop for days. There's a lot of tangents to follow here, Larry. In this Axe Cop world.
Written by Malachi Nicole, 6 years old, and with art by Ethan Nicole, 32? 26. Yeah. 26, something like that. Years old.
I have no idea.
Published by Dark Horse, came out in 2010, and James and I talked about reading Volume 1, but the true 22-page comic that came out in physical form is actually collected in Volume number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a little kind of back and forth, staying in the parameters of SN1 CBP.
Yeah, we gotta stick to the rules here, Larry. This is a structured podcast.
Structured podcasting, and so
we have two whole sections.
So we have two whole sections. We have Volume 1 and Volume 2, which includes Issue 1. How about that? For staying legal.
But, Larry, so I was wondering if you looked in the back of the volume and saw there was quite a few pages on the process of working with Malachi.
No, and, I didn't get that. I kind of skipped to the end because I was hoping, I was like, oh, this process is so interesting, and that's usually what you write about at the end. Uh-huh.
So I kind of skipped and saw a little bit of the backstory.
I'm looking at it right now.
It was really interesting. It was almost as interesting as the book, if that was possible. Just because, while I was reading it, I kept thinking, what is this process here?
Well, yeah, that's what I kept thinking, too, while I was reading the book, but I did not get to that. So, James, set us up. What is Axe Cop? Who is Axe Cop?
Axe Cop is the creation of this 6-year-old kid, and it seems like basically he just talks to his older brother, and his older brother, kind of guides him through conversation and asks him questions, and then somehow weaves a story out of the Mad Lib world that is this 6-year-old kid. So Axe Cop starting off is one of the greatest names ever. With those two words, those two syllables, you get what this is. It's muscles on muscles, or it's guns that shoot swords. The kind of thing he's a cop with an axe. So, and then his partner is Dinosaur Soldier.
Yes.
And
who?
So
in the first couple pages of the volume 1 becomes after eating an avocado, and this is the world that X-Cop is generated in.
There's a lot of changing forms.
After eating an avocado, dinosaur soldier partner becomes avocado soldier partner. And he's a giant avocado.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts, is like, I thought that was a great, like, they're constantly transforming. You know, it'll be like, oh, you know, your blood spilled on me, and now I'm like part
Santa Claus.
Rhinoceros. Yeah, we both, but it's like, those both could have been answers that could have been part of this story.
True.
And there's like a certain Mad Lib style that it's really interesting, because this kid comes up with answers you'd never think of.
Right.
Do you have like some favorite pieces of randomness in this, like some favorite random type characters or random? I think the characters are the most like obvious random things.
Right.
Do you have a favorite character in here, Larry?
Do I have a favorite character?
You can hold off and maybe we'll get to it when you try to untangle this plot.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about so what I kind of gathered from this was, originally this was a webcomic, and it's kind of done in the volume 1 anyway, is kind of collections of the webcomic, plus what are my favorite parts are Ask X-Cop, which was an advice column or a question and answer column from X-Cop.
That's a great way to, like, I could see that be very effective, just like asking the kid the question and then them giving you back an answer.
No kidding. And it works so well.
Great way to do it. That I'll have to look into that more, because I'm down with this kid's brain.
Well, his brain works like a kid's brain. It is so funny. So one of my very favorite. So we're going to jump around a little bit, because the plot
isn't that important.
The plot is not important, but what is really...
Wait, Larry, you mean they have to explode the planet that's coming at them?
Bad Guy Planet is on its way.
Bad Guy Planet's on its way, but first we got to go back in time and save the dinosaurs.
Exactly. So that's where this sort of...
That's the main plot.
That's the main plot. But inside of that, there's a lot of... processes where how X-Cop works. X-Cop is, he only sleeps 2 minutes a day because that's all he needs.
Every detail is great.
And when he goes on vacation, though, he sleeps for a whole month and watches nothing but TV. You know, it's like those are great little tidbits. And
you can just imagine asking a kid like, so. When does Axeman go to sleep? And he's like, oh, he just goes to sleep for 2 minutes a day. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, but does he ever take a vacation? Yeah, for like 5 months. You know, you can just see him winding him up for those questions. And he did such a good job, like, at least getting some things connected. And consistent.
Inside of the Ask X-Cop segment, there are lots of little kid and the older brother kind of breaks down what he thinks his younger brother is thinking and how he came up with those questions. So here's one in sort of quick detail. Dear X-Cop, have you ever met the Electric Man? Was he wearing a hat? And X-Cop replies that yes, he was wearing a hat, but he kept falling down because Electro Man wanted to fight crime, and he ran so fast that he would fall down and cause earthquakes. And so X-Cop...
I couldn't do that.
X-Cop comes up with a suit for Electro Man to wear so he could still run fast, fall down, and not cause these earthquakes. And he
still falls down.
He still falls down. He's so excited about getting into the action. This is his older brother breaking down his thought process. Like,
oh, yeah.
why would he come up with that? But it makes perfect sense, because what do we tell children all the time? Slow down.
Wow, yeah, that's a good one.